Should teachers be trained for self-defense? Should there be guns in schools? Let's talk to somebody who has some opinions on this. You know her, you love her, Laura Carno from Coloradans for Civil Liberties.
Hi, thanks for having me.
First of all, Coloradans for Civil Liberties. Give me the quick explanation.
Sure. Coloradans for Civil Liberties is a statewide pro-gun organization looking to reclaim those gun rights that we lost in 2013, and our tagline is restoring freedom one round at a time.
Now, let's talk about schools, and that, particularly in rural areas, there is no response if there is an active shooter situation. That is, it would take half an hour, it might take 40 minutes. And while in the urban and suburban areas, I think our responses have gotten better and faster and better and faster. The theater shooting was a perfect example of learning the hard way from all the terrible things that have happened before. But if you're out in the rural areas, what happens if there's a shooter?
Right, and that's a great question, and they are, I look at them a little bit differently. In the rural areas, it could be 30, 45 minutes. They are their own first responders, flat out. In addition, in the rural areas, these are people who grew up around firearms. So this is not a big leap in rural areas to say, well, I'm a teacher, I'm a principal, I'm a janitor, I carry a firearm everywhere else I go, why wouldn't I carry one on campus? And it's legal here in Colorado to do that, and so they used the law. In the more
stop you there.
Sure.
It is legal in Colorado to do that. A lot of people have a misconception that it's not legal.
Right.
How is it legal? What does the law say?
Sure. So in the concealed carry part of the statute, there are exceptions. You can conceal carry except in the following places, and one of those is schools. So then the exception to the exception is unless you are designated by your school as a security officer. Now they didn't say a school resource officer, they didn't give a particular title, but designated by your school as a security officer. So there are agreements out there between school staff members and their school board or their charter school board that law allows for both of those to approve, or either of those to approve. You can be a concealed carry person in your school. So that's the part of the law that they're using. And you know, after Sandy Hook, folks in schools looked and they went to their sheriffs.
Right.
We got a lot of this information from sheriffs. They went to their sheriffs and said, we can't do this. How can we protect ourselves? Find me a place in the law where this is legal for us to do. And it was.
Talk to me about other states, because training teachers for an active shooter situation, this is not what you go to education school for. Right. You don't go up to UNC to learn how to deal with an active shooter. We learned some terrible and painful lessons with Columbine, and we're the home of Columbine. What did we learn? What did other states learn from that?
Yes, and Columbine changed things where we used to, law enforcement used to wait for the SWAT team to arrive. And that's not okay anymore, because what I was going to say about suburban or urban schools, even if response time is 2 minutes, the average in these mass shootings is 1 kill every 17 seconds. So do the math. If you have 2 minute response time, is that an acceptable loss? You need people right there who can stop the threat.
The analogy for me was, before 9/11, if there was a hijacker, you worked with that hijacker because he wanted to go someplace or he wanted to make a statement. And the way to save people was to be patient and to work with them. After 9/11, you realized, no, these people are going to turn a plane into a weapon of mass destruction. You need to take them out now. After Columbine, we learned you need instant engagement, and you need to get those people who are wounded out of the situation.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And your question, what did other states learn from Columbine? Every state came to that same conclusion, that we can't wait. And that's a great analogy to pre-9/11, post-9/11. It was a game changer. And sadly, it was, we were faced with new evil in both of those situations. And instead of sticking our heads in the sand and saying, well, we shouldn't have guns in school, of course the bad guys shouldn't bring guns into schools. We all can agree, but it's going to happen again. That's the one thing we know about these terrible tragedies. What are we going to do about it?
Talk to me about other states.
Yes.
So they've seen what has happened in Sandy Hook. They've seen what's happened in Columbine. Give me the bellwether.
Sure.
Who does this right?
Sure. So Ohio started right after Sandy Hook and said, we have to do something about it. Now, they have an organization there called Buckeye Firearms Association that eventually formed a foundation to train teachers for free. When I say teachers, I mean school staff. It could be the principal, the janitor, the lunch lady, whomever. Teachers will be a shorthand for here. Over the last 5 years, they have trained almost 900 school staff. They've raised over $1 million to do this. They are doing this right. Everyone in the country calls them to say, what should we do here?
So let me see if I understand it. This is a private organization.
Yes.
They raise private dollars,
Right.
and public school teachers, employees, come to get training on how to handle an active shooter situation.
Right.
Is it just firearms training, or is it also first aid? Is it also situation? What is it that they teach them?
Yeah, good question. So first of all, it starts with mindset. And I'll give you an example of mindset. If you're a teacher and a student walks into your classroom with a rifle, and that kid was your math student yesterday, and now he's a killer, there is a mindset that this teacher needs to have to say, I need to stop this threat, even though he was my student yesterday. Teachers
I never even really thought about
right?
that.
I mean, teachers are caring people, and so it starts with that mindset. Next comes medical care. So in Sandy Hook, it took 30 minutes before medics could be cleared to enter the building. How many people died? Remember, they thought there might have been a second shooter. How many people died because nobody could apply a tourniquet or a chest seal? So the training, the medical training, is called TCCC. It's Trauma Combat Casualty Care, and it's what our soldiers learned in Iraq.
Basically triage, right?
Right.
So you get them, if someone's hurt, you get them the hell out of there, right?
Well, you stop the bleeding. It's about stop the bleeding, stop the shooter. Those are kind of those two steps. They don't need to be medically trained enough to do an appendectomy or heart surgery. They just need to stop the bleeding. And tourniquets, which used to be the tool of last resort, put it on. It's going to be fine for an hour until an actual medically trained person gets here. So it's mindset, medicine, and then it's stop the shooter, and they are very advanced skills to stop the shooter.
Right, and that's where the shooting training comes in as well. So in Ohio, nearly 1,000 teachers have been trained not only on the situation, but they've actually been trained on how to shoot in a school. Do they do a situation, or are they just shooting paper targets out from a firing line?
Yeah, so let's start with who these people are that volunteer. You might hear in political circles, you want to arm teachers. No, we don't. These are people who are already armed. They already have their CCW license. They are
Concealed weapon permit.
Yes, and they're already carrying a concealed weapon in the rest of their life. They just can't do it at school. These are people who have grown up around guns, who are hunters, that sort of thing. So these aren't people that you're forcing into this. For one, they're volunteers. And obviously accuracy is important, so there is shooting at the firing line. They actually qualify to the Colorado Post qualification level, which is how accurately the police officers have to shoot to qualify. But then there's also force-on-force scenarios. So there is a house, so to speak, that's set up like a classroom, like the hallways, like the lunchroom, and there are scenarios that are run there. There's a bad guy, there's a good guy, there are innocent people, and the good guy with the gun has to stop the threat, has to address the injuries, has to get somebody to make the 911 call correctly that says, hey, Mr. Jones has a firearm here.
Wow, and so almost 1,000 teachers have been trained in Ohio. Have any of them had to use this training yet?
Yeah, so interesting. There are a lot of things that never hit the news, and the class that I went to, I don't think we covered that. I went to one of these classes in Ohio and made a commitment to come back here and bring this to Colorado. There was a principal there. It was a second level class. It was called Faster 2. The class is called Faster, so this was the second level class. And he'd gone to the first class, carried for a year, and then was coming back to the second class. There was an older sibling of one of his students that had come to the campus with a firearm, with a shotgun. And the principal had gone out to see what the commotion was, and the kid took his shotgun out of the car and started to bring it down on the principal, who was able to draw his own firearm, and the kid just, his knees buckled, he dropped the gun, and nothing happened.
Wow.
So you look at something like that and you say, The paper didn't cover it. It's not one of those, oh, look at what a hero he was, because nothing happened.
Nothing happened because he was properly trained. All right, you're bringing this training to Colorado. We've only got about a minute.
Sure.
If teachers want this training, is it going to cost them? How do they get involved?
Yeah, so we have been raising money for the last 10 months to be able to provide scholarships to schools that don't have the budget for it. Some do, most don't. So we cover the tuition for that so that they can go through it for free.
If people want to be part of this, if a teacher or employee wants it, where do they go?
Yeah, they go to fastercolorado.com. If you think about it, the faster you stop the bleeding, the faster you stop the shooter, the fewer people die. fastercolorado.com.
Laura, thank you. Best of
Thank
luck.
you.
I know it's going to fill up, and keep it going. Listen for me on KHOW Radio. Read me in the Denver Post. Tell a friend about the Independence Institute, and we'll see you next week.